As of right now, the number 18 most viewed PragerU video is this one. Democratic Socialism is still socialism. This is from Steven Crowder. This is the one we've been hyping up for a while. Steven Crowder is maybe getting banned, so it's timely. We're skipping over the other one because I don't want to do it. Let us begin. Democratic Socialism is still socialism.
NRA.
We're getting NRA ads. That's cute. We're out of money.
Democratic socialism. It's not the same as socialism because it's democratic, right?
Is it? God, he is like such a punchable face.
Or something, right? People are buying that. People buy that now, right? Apparently. As though adding the word democratic in front of a word changes what it means. Just because—
What does it mean, Steven? Are you gonna tell me? I'd like to be told what it means.
we toss something to a vote doesn't change what that something is, nor does it alter whether that something is inherently good or bad.
Okay. I mean, I'd rather democratize things than, like, not democratize things. Let's hear them.
Couple of examples, because I know you'll ask. Hamas was democratically elected as the government in Gaza, despite the fact that the destruction of not only Israel, but the eradication of all Jews is in their official charter.
Hold up. For the people of Palestine, that would be a good thing. We don't support that. We don't want that. That's awful. But from their perspective, this is an improvement. You said just because something is democratized doesn't mean it's good or bad, but you're leaving out the factor like what defines what is good or bad. That's a complex philosophical discussion that can change depending on time, but depending on what perspective you have. Let's say I get stung by wasps. Would it improve my life if every wasp died? Yes. Would it improve the life of the rest of the world if every wasp died because they are actually pollinators and are very useful to our ecosystem? No, it would be pretty bad in the long run. I also want to point out, instead of defining what socialism is and why it's bad and why democratism is like blah, 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 let's just jump to Hamas. Okay.
Mugabe, or Bobby Mugabe if you prefer, was democratically elected by a loving majority in Zimbabwe.
Yeah.
Zimbabwe, how's that working out?
How is it working out? I'm doing the same expression. Didn't explain what's wrong with Mugabe or Zimbabwe. Just Zimbabwe. How's that looking out for you?
Zimbabwe, how's that working out? Venezuela?
He said the word, guys. You know what that means. It's free real estate. Nah, I'm just fucking with you. Everybody watching, type in the chat your best Vuvuzela impression. Vuvuzela! I love this thing so much. This is the best purchase I've made for this channel. Let's go!
Well, Hugo Chavez, noted personal favorite and friend of Sean Penn, to whom he constantly pointed.
Why are you bringing up Sean Penn? You're not Debbie D'Souza. It'll work when you do it.
As being unfairly characterized as a dictator when in fact he was democratically elected as a socialist. Well, how'd that work out for Venezuela?
It did pretty well for a while.
Well, it's now
socialism always works in the beginning.
on the brink of collapse, despite it being one of the most resource-rich nations in the entire world. Basic things
maybe the oil gets in the food and they can't eat it.
like eggs, milk, flour, and toilet paper are either too
They always do the toilet paper. Why? Because they're so full of shit.
expensive for the average Venezuelan, or simply out of stock. Out of stock, mind you, democratically.
I always keep mentioning this, that this happens in our country all the time, especially like in the last year with COVID, right? Oh, things are out of stock. Oh, prices are going up. Oh, we got so much demand and not enough supply. Democratically. All right.
I know. Some of you will say, well, that's not fair because really we knew all along it technically was a dictatorship. Okay, that's fair.
It's not the argument I made. They voted against toilet paper. Ha!
Let's move on to example number 2.
I mean, okay. I realize I'm like arguing against the void and they can't like answer me, but it's like on the fly, I can come up with very basic counters to these things and they never really get any of it out. So when, okay, stuff's out of stock, stuff doesn't work, this is a supply chain problem. This isn't necessarily relevant upon your economic system that you live in. If you have an economy that tends to be centrally planned, it's easy for like one person somewhere up to make a mistake. It's easy for like maybe there's not enough supply to meet the demand because you didn't organize it properly. That makes sense. You have an economy that's not centrally planned, more of a free market economy or whatever you want to call it, like the United States. It's true, there's a lot more stuff to go around. One person at the top makes a mistake, the market adjusts, we can handle it. But then, big disaster comes, oh, what do you know? Suddenly your drinking water has now increased in price 5,000% because everybody wants drinking water because all the water has been poisoned because of the hurricane bust open the sewer line. And now we don't have anybody providing us with water because, what do you know, we privatized it all. And we got rid of the fire department because that's socialism. Don't stick too strongly to one or the other, okay? That sounds so centrist of me, my God. Don't blindly follow your imagined ideal of an economic system. Just make what works best for individual commodities. No explanation of what happened in Venezuela. No explanation of what went wrong. No explanation of the policies of Hugo Chavez. No explanation of broader socioeconomic circumstances in relations to Venezuela with the world and big multinational corporations. Nothing, just Venezuela. Still no definition of socialism. Convenient. They never want to define it, so it can be whatever they want it to be.
Let's move on to example number 2. Denmark? Okay, here's the time where you point to an entirely homogenous population about 1/60th the size.
Whoa! I didn't expect him to get racist about it.
Here's the time where you point to an entirely homogenous population.
Holy shit! Okay. Socialism is when no racism. Yeah, Steven Crowder is an intellectual powerhouse.
About 1/60th the size of America's, and you point to that as the blueprint. Okay, let's go there.
Well, I mean, all these other places are also like 1/60th the size of America, because America's fucking huge, and Alaska is gigantic. So why is it fair to mention Venezuela or Zimbabwe, but now we're talking Norway, and now it's not fair? Oh, how's that work? Oh, it makes no sense, because Steven Crowder's a fucking idiot.
The middle class can't even afford a car because of the 180% new car tax. And the prime minister was...
Okay, you're just making that up. Denmark, can you afford a car? This is probably gonna be like, this is stupid. Cars in Denmark taxed at 100% because, oh, and they have public transit. How about that? In Copenhagen, car ownership is 29%. I guess that tracks for most of Europe.
The prime minister was so fed up with Americans pointing to it as a beacon for socialist success that he felt compelled to clarify, I would like to make one thing clear.
Hey, they mentioned this in another PragerU video that we already went over. God, they just keep repeating themselves.
Denmark is far from a socialist planned economy.
Yeah.
Denmark is a market economy. Sweden?
There's nothing. There's nothing else. Steven Crowder is so bad at making arguments. Just a moment ago.
This is a place where the middle class can't even afford a car because of the 180% new car tax.
It's bad because they can't afford 180% new car tax. Oh, but actually it's not a socialist economy. It's actually a market economy. Oh, so are you saying market economies are bad in comparison to a socialist planned economy? What is your argument, Crowder? You're jumping between points here. You're jumping between arguments and you're putting them right next to each other like this logically follows. It doesn't follow. Bringing up random data points is not an argument. Bringing up random quotes is not an argument. Just saying, look at Venezuela is not an argument.
Sweden? I love Sweden. Okay, great bikini team, and...
He would love Sweden. Great bikini team? Look at me, guys! Do you believe that I'm not gay?
Country, my armoire now doubles as a bookcase. Speaking of which, the founder of IKEA, let's be honest, the only really cool export from Sweden, aside from a few good hockey players, left Sweden because of the stifling high tax rate. So, Sweden, good place.
Founder of IKEA left Sweden because of the high tax rate? Or he left Sweden because, he's a business guy doing a business. And he's like, I'm a multi-billionaire now because of my chain. I'm gonna go live somewhere in the Cayman Islands where I don't have to pay taxes.
So, Sweden, good place, not bad people, but a successful model for a viable economy in today's global market? Incorrect.
Well, I mean, they seem to be doing pretty well, so... What did he call it? This is like a stupid sentence. If Sweden's economy is not a successful model for a viable economy, then what are you bringing it up for? What?
The fact is that over time, the greatest enemy of socialism is reality. The reality that human nature will invariably pull certain people toward individualism.
All right, hold up. Look at this. Notice that the greatest enemy of socialism is reality. Okay. What is socialism? Any definition. Just give me anything to work with. Whatever you want to define it as, just lay it out and we can work with that. Huh, you don't lay it out. You never address it, not even in the start of these things, which is where you should put it. You don't address it at all. What's up with that? I'll tell you, they do that because that makes it easier for them to play fast and loose with whatever they want to be arguing against. Sometimes you can extrapolate the meaning of what they mean a word like socialism means based on the sentence and context in which they use it. But in a sentence like this, it really makes it obvious that there is no coherent meaning. The greatest enemy of socialism is reality. So what is it? It could be anything that they don't like. It could be anything that they oppose. Really quite convenient when you don't define these terms. Okay, what's my definition of socialism? My definition of socialism is when society wears Crocs all the time on their feet. Just those ugly, hideous Crocs. Let me pull it up. Oh, God. I hate these things. Oh, it looks so stupid. See this? Oh my God, look at this. This is coming for you, America. Socialism is coming to America through the form of Crocs. This is what your future looks like. Your children will be forced to wear these if Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez gets her way. But thankfully, the greatest enemy of this is reality, and Crocs are hideous. See, when you don't define it, you can, and then you say sentences like this, anything fits. Any definition you want fits in this equation. I like that argument. Socialism is when people wear Crocs. That's a good one. I just came up with that. I'm sorry. The fact that there's an American Crocs is amazing. It fits so perfectly. Oh my God. Well, that's the worst thing I've seen in a long time.
The greatest enemy of socialism is reality.
Because eventually people realize they don't want to wear Crocs because you get little shit in between the little holes and it gets in your feet. And the ugly. They're just ugly to look at. Nobody wants to see it. Get out of here.
Reality that human nature will invariably pull certain people toward individualism and success and others toward laziness and collectivism.
Okay, laziness and collectivism is socialism. Well, that's an answer, I suppose.
The tension between the makers and the takers always.
Oh man, what are they dressed as? This was before, see the person here, the makers and the takers. This is like, oh, this guy's wearing scrubs. This is doctor. This is before the right side of the aisle decided they actually hate doctors now because COVID's a lie made by George Soros or Bill Gates or something. And the takers are wearing tie-dye and have mustaches. I don't fucking know. You should have swapped. These guys should have been on the left and these guys should have been on the right, but you fucked that up. Also, why are they fighting over socialism?
Between the makers and the takers always leads to socialism's inevitable collapse.
Like I said, no definition for socialism. So, a society in which everyone wears Crocs cannot sustain itself. It will collapse. Someone has to wear steel-toed boots when they go to work. You can't wear Crocs. You can't have steel-toed Crocs.
But I know that I can give you examples of failed socialist economies until I'm blue in the...
Is Sweden a failed socialist economy? He just said he could give examples of failed socialist economies, and he gave Denmark and Sweden, and he said, their economies suck, they're not viable. Are they failed socialists? Or did they fail at being socialists? Oh, neither one is coherent. He's just throwing everything at the wall and hoping something sticks.
...the face, and you won't care. Because at least socialism is inherently more morally altruistic than the evil, greedy, capitalist warmongering seen in the West.
Is it? God, he's so annoying, too. Warmongering, yeah, very true. Moral altruistic socialism versus evil, greedy capitalism. Well, if it's democratized, it kind of is. If you agree with democracy, which I do. I think a lot of times democracy is somewhat moral. Better than the alternative, at least.
Greed? What's more greedy than wanting to take from someone else something that you haven't earned? Unlike capitalism, free enterprise, which can only occur truly through voluntary transaction.
He's gonna redefine it too. That's not what capitalism is. Capitalism is private ownership of the means of production. It's important to address it like that. People like Crowder don't like to address that, but historically speaking, you kind of have to address that because it kind of arrived out of an older version of capitalism where it was giant fucking corporations, or not corporations as we know them today, but state actors operating. Like the East India Trading Company, the Dutch Tea Trading Company.
Unlike capitalism, free enterprise, which can only occur truly through voluntary transaction.
Okay, which can only occur through voluntary transaction. That's been happening since the dawn of time. Capitalism today is not that. It's pretty different. People have always been engaging in trade since as long as humanity has existed. The critiques of modern capitalism today, nothing to do with that.
Socialism can only occur at gunpoint. That's what it comes down to. If you don't pay your taxes, once you get through the
I don't know what this bit is.
IRS and the auditing and the lawyers and the PR stunts, people make you give the government your money, an increasing amount of your money, the more successful you are, or they send in scary men with guns to take you away.
I'm sorry, is he describing socialism or the IRS? Oh, the IRS is socialism. That's why he doesn't define it, so he can call the IRS socialist. One big run-on sentence.
Now, so long as the people having their stuff taken away at gunpoint are in the minority, and the majority feels that they'll get to benefit from more said taken stuff, you'll always be able to win that decision through a popular vote and claim the more.
What the fuck is he going on about? Socialism is when I pay taxes. Communism is when low economic freedom index. Yeah, this is like incoherent rambling at this point. Okay, in a way, I'll say this. One definition you can use to define the state is a monopoly on violence. He's almost touching it, but he has no idea what he's talking about. I can't go out and shoot someone. I can't go out with my gun and say, I'm gonna take your stuff. Only the state can do that, in a way. Now, the state has a big bureaucracy attached to it, so any random person working for the state can't just go and do it. You gotta fill out all the paperwork. And someone usually has to reach the point where they've messed up repeatedly along the way before that even happens. But in the end, yeah, state does have a monopoly on violence. Yeah, cops can kill you and get away with it. Oh, but Steven Crowder's okay when that happens. It's just he doesn't want rich people who avoid paying taxes to have the government come to them, because then that's socialist. Is it? I don't know. He didn't define it because it's incoherent. This just reminded me. Wesley Snipes went to prison for tax evasion. All right, Steven, what you got for me?
As long as the people having their stuff taken away at gunpoint are in the minority, and the majority feels that they'll get to benefit from more said taken stuff, you'll always be able to win that decision through a popular vote and claim the moral high ground through democracy.
This is pretty stupid, I'm gonna say. Do you not like democracy then? I think he doesn't.
Putting the word democratic in front of your socialism doesn't make it any inherently more moral.
Man, this is a very long, complicated way of just saying you don't like democracy. Throwing out all these so-called failed socialist economies. No definition of what socialism is. Talking about a failure of democracy doesn't really apply. Talking about the IRS gonna take your stuff by gunpoint. Okay, all of this is why democratic socialism is wrong. Man, I can do better than that. Come on.
Nor less
My
violent.
getting sore.
Did you get that?
Yeah, every state is fucking violent, dipshit. That's the definition of the state. They got a monopoly on violence. And moral has nothing to do with nothing to do with any of this. I mean, it kind of does. If you think democracy is moral, which I do. Okay, let's say one guy on the island has hoarded all the coconuts. There's 10 of us and one of him. He has all the coconuts in a pile. And he says, no, these are mine. You can't have them. And we're like, there's nothing else to eat. Come on, share a coconut. And he's like, no, they're mine. Okay, let's put it to a vote. I say we distribute them equally. All in favor? Aye. And he says, no. Okay, we're gonna go take your coconuts. Fuck you.
Did you get that? American wannabe socialists?
American wannabe socialists. You can actually tell with some of these videos that they let the speaker themselves write the video, depending on the quality of it. Steven Crowder very obviously wrote this himself because it's just incoherent rambling.
Get a job.
No, you!
Please, like a real job.
Wait. Okay, so when you get banned in a few days, I'm gonna say this to you, dipshit.
You'll probably have to shave first.
Yeah, you're one to talk. Look at your fucking face. Ew, gross. You see this guy on the bus? Get away from him. He looks like a rapist. Get away.
I'm Steven Crowder for Prager University.
To subscribe to our YouTube channel, click here. To help keep our videos free, donate here.
Excuse me, you say to keep the videos free. But Dennis, have you considered getting a real job? You haven't. Very curious. Venezuela.
Steven Crowder, more like Steven Powder. Snorting coke. That was terrible. Oh my god. I'm gonna give a thanks to the March patron backers. Dios, Ian Diaby, Elsie Hupp, George, Irene Schaefer, James Paul, Jari Palamo, Laura Day, Mellow Cheddar, Suzanne Hendrickson, and Zyler from Bandcamp. Sorry this one took a little while. I may have bumped my head a few days ago. You know how it goes. Just have to bump my head a few thousand more times and I'll be on the same level as Steven Crowder. That'll be fun.